no further ado, I'm delighted that we've managed to talk Founder Enlightening into doing a talk this morning, and delighted that we've got Pawel, one of the co-founders, aren't you, of Founder Enlightening, and he's agreed to accept questions as we go through the call. I know some people are running late this morning, so we will let people come in as they arrive. But yeah, it'll be great. And you've said that you want to take questions as we go through.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If everybody has got any comments or any questions in the middle of it, that's fine. I'll figure out the flow of the few slides that I've got as we go. But yeah, please do. It's much better when it's a conversational rather than me on Friday morning before your first morning coffee, kind of doing a lecture here. So yeah, I 100% would love that.
No problem at all.
Cool. Shall we?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Oli, for the invite. And it's really, really interesting to be the part of the community. I kind of saw a few previous presentations and they were really, really impressive. So the bar is really high, and I really hope that we can learn something here together. My name is Pawel, just like Oli mentioned. I'm one of the co-founders with Matt and Dan of the company called Founder Enlightening, when in reality, we started 10 years ago to help usually non-technical founders deliver on their legacy. So we wanted to demystify the idea of founders who are non-technical trying to build the brand new businesses that they were working on. And we started with the idea of building the things in the right way from the technology perspective, very quickly moved to the idea of building the right thing as well, which means we build the whole product validation and the discovery part of the businesses to help the founders build the right things. And currently we really do three things. We still work with founders from early stage to Series A businesses. We also co-invest. We've got a small fund called FNL Capital, where we invest in B2B businesses, usually early stage, something which is offline to online. And finally, we work with larger organizations who are starting to see the opportunity within the AI space, and they want to join that kind of a journey with us, and we help them start flexing those AI muscles. My role at Founder Enlightening is to run the whole technology and the product part. So I advise, work with the founders on anything from early stage product validation through building, through scaling, through growth, and I run the whole product and technology teams within the Founder Enlightening. So that's my role. Pleasure to be here. And today I would like to talk about, and I'm sure that you've seen so many AI presentations already, so this could be less or more interesting to you. But I thought it's Friday, we survived another week. Let's try to take another kind of a bite at this and try to connect it to the problem that we are seeing almost everywhere now within the founders that we are working with, which is how do I really put it into 2025? What are the actual opportunities somewhere there that I can put it within my business? And I don't know the audience businesses, so it will be more generic, but I think there will be certain themes that applies to absolutely everybody. And from our experience, the 20-ish businesses that we are working on, they all have got the board merit to start implementing AI within their business in 2025. This is not going away. Apparently 98% of the CEOs love AI. The love from the other team members is a little bit more shaky, but the CEOs love the promise of the AI. So I think it's worth discussing where you can start, how you can start playing with it, what it really means, where are the opportunities, what I think as a subjective opinion would be 2025 all about, and how we should think about this. I think that's how we would like to discuss this. If there will be any questions, please just shout. If not, I'll just keep going. So the first thing for us is when we look at the space currently is it's like we look at this the introduction of the AI as the inflection point, and the inflection point for us is this moment in time when something radical outside of the startup world happens that actually potentially dramatically impacts how users and how people will feel, behave, and act. Those moments, and there are a few in the history, from electricity, internet, introduction of an iPhone, the AI could be one of those. And just to bring it closer, I want to take you just for a tiny story to 1850s, I think, and the introduction of the elevator. I don't know how many of you knows the story, but the elevators were created in roughly 1800s. Elisha Otis, and I think this is the biggest elevator company in the world currently. And kind of there was a really big problem with the elevators. Till that point, to the elevator's invention, the buildings were designed and created to 3, 4 floors. The moment the elevators were created, the ability to create higher and taller buildings was open up. But the people had a really big problem with trusting the technology, as you can imagine. So 1854, Elisha Otis built a tower, put the elevator in, and cut the cables holding the elevator to prove the point that they are not going to fall down and die at the bottom of the pit for the elevator. And that was the moment where the skyscraper era, just basic speaking, was born. People started to trust the technology improved, and the rest is history. The most important thing about this story is that as much as the elevator helped improve the efficiency of 3 and 4 story buildings from the perspective of time to travel between the floors, and you don't have to walk the stairs. But actually, what it actually did was it opened up a brand new opportunity to start building skyscrapers, to redesign the cities. And you can argue for better or worse, depends on how much you like your architecture, but it dramatically changed the landscape of a lot of places in the world and dramatically changed how we now think about the cities. And I think AI is in a similar moment. We had our Sam Altman ChatGPT open up, and then 100 million users joined within the 2 months. I am thinking that we are starting to see trust versus no trust to the technology with the surveys like the one for the CEOs. And now the question is, what is going to be the stuff for our 3, 4 story buildings versus what is going to be the stuff for AI to create from the perspective of brand new ideas and opening up the technology space for very, very interesting innovation part. So let's do the obvious first. And this is interesting for all of the people who have been in AI for the last 50 years almost. And I'm a software engineer by trade. So I had an opportunity to learn about the AI 25 years ago. And as much as it was interesting, we never thought that it will have such an impact that it actually have got now. The crucial thing and the obvious things now are the productivity and efficiency. We are dramatically suffering from the perspective of how the productivity and efficiency is in UK. And those are the early things that people will start doing now to improve it. The customer service part, which means how do we make sure that the customer service teams that we've got in a huge number of people can be more efficient. The co-pilots, everybody getting a brand new co-pilot within their Office 365 subscription to work better with Excel, to write better content, to write better emails. We've seen the improvements in productivity and efficiency from creating content. I'm sure we all read the LinkedIn post generated by AI. The code generation is here, and the claims are kind of outrageous, up to 55% improvements in speed of code generation for the developers. And crucially, probably for this audience of startup people and founders, is the ability to generate new prototypes and new MVPs within a day for $20. If you now have got an idea that you want to give it a go, to generate a landing page, Figma prototypes, and ask those Figma prototypes to be coded in for your first version so you can start showing to the customers, well, that is extremely quick. This is a game changer. Even if you've got an existing business and you want to experiment with something else on top, this is going to allow so much more people to enter your space and the space of founding businesses, because the barrier of entry is going to be really, really low. But it also allows you, as the founders of the better businesses, to consider how to experiment, how to try things out. The underlying things here is find the places where you walk around your office and you see the people working in a manual fashion. Those days should be gone. Find the places where you collect the data, because the data will be crucial, that only you know, right? Things that you collect as the organization, that based on the data, you can make dramatically better decisions. This is going to be the differentiator and the very powerful thing that will enable the founders to drive their businesses forward. Just because every single person, just like all of you founders on this call, have got the access to AWS and can run cloud applications, the same way all of us will have the access to the very similar AI endpoints that we can use. The whole point will be that the 20% extra that will make your product unique will be based on your internal expertise and the data. We call it like a brand new playbook that is moving towards what do you guys know that nobody else does, and what does your data holds that nobody else can have, right? And of course, then the flywheel of the more data we have, the better the product becomes, the better the product becomes, the more data we collect, and so on, kind of a forever. So those are the obvious things, and this is the obsessions of AI now. This is in every single product roadmap or business strategy we've seen. The improvements in productivity and efficiency. All of the business that we are talking about, and we run webinars, we run our own founders, we speak with the capital deals. Every single person is talking about how the efficiency and productivity of what they do on the daily basis is going to be impacted. That's part one. It has to be the part of your goals for 2025. And actually, the starting point is not that hard to start flexing those muscles. There are companies like ours who can help with it, and the space is very, very open. And I think a lot of people will struggle if they don't do this, because the competitors will be able to really value those solutions and really implement them relatively quickly. Now there are things which are, and I think this is where I thought about this, and I really like those ideas of the unexpected parts of where AI can actually be used. Those are the moments where we go outside of our first 4 floors of the elevator metaphor, and we actually consider things which are coming, and some of them are already here. And I think that for the founders who are running businesses who are currently growing, or who are oriented towards learning faster and trying to become bigger, better, and compete with the much bigger companies, those are the ideas that are worth considering. And just like I said, I don't know the context of all of your businesses, but I think that there are a few things that will be there that can help anybody. Because there is this statement of that it's not about just rethinking efficiency. This will happen. The better automation, this is already in. This is already almost priced in if you are the financial markets. Now is the time to start thinking also about the stuff, how to rethink the rules entirely. And those will be very, very powerful. The best example of it is, I don't know, you probably all noticed Klarna on LinkedIn. They announced that they're dumping Salesforce, and they rewrote the whole Salesforce multiple million implementation in AI, right? Nobody knows what that really means, but the gossip is that they simplified the process so much that they don't need the Salesforce anymore, and they just basically speaking build their own tool that does exactly what they want. And because they use AI, the process of implementing this was extremely quick. So they changed the rules how they operate that part of their business. They rethought it, what they really, really need, rather than just said, okay, we've got Salesforce, we'll be here forever. I think that's a very interesting example. So now the hidden impact of where AI either already is or is going to change a lot. So the first thing is AI personalization. This is happening now almost for a really, really big businesses almost everywhere. 30% of Amazon income is the Amazon recommendation engine. The thing that you see at the bottom, people who bought this book also bought that book. That's it. That contributes to something like $200 billion of revenue every single year. 80% of the shows that you guys watch on Netflix is recommended. It's not like you found them. The recommendation engine put it in front of you to press and spend your weekend watching it. So all of the businesses that do have the data and they do sell something will have a play with the recommendation. The other part is all of this content generation, the creativity. I don't know if you've seen the latest Coca-Cola advert, fully generated by AI. And I think they made it on purpose to look a little bit like AI, but still with all of those famous music by Coca-Cola, famous Santa Claus, the truck, the feeling of winter, and so on and so on. Imagine the next stage when they will personalize this, that it might be creepy today when we are talking about this, but imagine that the part of the advert will be you and your family receiving a bottle of Coca-Cola from Santa while you are watching this. Personalized advert just for you, and it will bring the best memories you as the family ever had connected to Christmas. And crucially, just like we discussed just a second ago, Klarna rewriting the playbook on Salesforce. Actually, Salesforce itself is changing the model from being what they are into being the agents model and delivering stuff and value to their customers in a very, very different way. And there is already a very interesting conversation about the impact of AI on the SaaS companies. If you run a SaaS company today, you should at least consider what's going to happen when instead of selling seats or instead of selling use of something, you have to actually sell the outcome. So imagine you're running the recruitment company today and you are selling, you build the platform that competes with LinkedIn, and you are selling recruiter seats plus the job postings. Very typical SaaS model, millions of pounds are being made every single day about it. But imagine that the situation changed and someone comes in and says, okay, tell me what you want. I will write the job description for you, agent number one. I will verify and validate all of the people who are on our network to match perfectly against your expectations, not just keywords, because we can analyze absolutely everything about them. What is more, we are going to run the first interview with a bot where this person will be thinking that they are talking with a human, but actually they will be talking with a bot. And I've seen the live demos of it at the recruitment conference. I couldn't realize which one is the person doing the interview versus which one is the person being interviewed. And then we will just, at the end of this whole process, the outcome would be we interviewed 200 people, we found 5, and we give those 5 just to you. Now you can have the final conversation. And of course, we are going to schedule the perfect interview for you and that person. This is outcome-oriented SaaS that you just can't charge per seat. You charge per the person hired. And almost every single SaaS will reconsider where those agents sits and which parts of those jobs still belongs to the human versus which parts can be automated. I think that's a very interesting consideration for 2025 for almost all of the SaaS businesses out there. And that's what is happening as of today. So that was the kind of a maybe should have. And now I really like the idea of how far we can push the limits of thinking about this process. And just because it's Friday, it's early, you guys are all superbly creative in the way you think about your businesses. Like how far we can really push this, how far this could really change things around. So I was thinking about the non-obvious opportunities. It's like, imagine that AI can create the moments of joy. The AI will know so much about it that your business could actually generate the moments of joy for your customers because it will be able to connect not only on the level that we are providing you the service, but actually do things that are just dramatically different and just make someone smile on the other side. You wouldn't have to do anything you personally, but the machine in the background will be figuring it out. All of those businesses that running the gift style, I will print you something and it's personal and so on, well, they have to start thinking about stuff like that. Surprise at scale, right? Those moments that you can do something for your customers that they don't expect to be done. Like there will be agents running in the background of your business in 2025, considering the opportunity for 2 things. Is the customer going to churn? And 2, how I can extremely proactively surprise him in a positive manner by providing him the perfect insights or the perfect answer before they even ask the question. Well, we can turn the tables on the AI and say, hey, why don't we build something that tells you why this TV show was recommended to me? We can make the AI feel and think for us in the way that it becomes more trustworthy and more transparent. So we always think about, oh, the machine will take over. But if we turn the tables on them, how does the machine helps explain to you certain decisions that you are making? I think there will be plenty of startups in that domain who would say, hey, Mike, this is why you've made those decisions, or this is why they recommend this to you. And it will be presented to you so you will build the trust with the organization on the other side. So whenever you're recommending something to buy to your customers, and for example, we recommend that you spend X amount of weeks building something for your customers because this is this and this, the AI in the background can just validate all of our recommendation and say, yeah, they're on the right track. No, why don't you consider something else, right? And as much as today, and I'll grant everybody the horror stories of we all code a chat or we all code an HMRC and the bot replies and we are really, really frustrated. The word of AI pretending and being more humane than a human can be on the other side is close. I promise you, the recruitment of one-to-one conversation, the audience at this conference couldn't recognize which bit is what, right? Who is the person, who is the bot? Which means that ability for agents to talk with us will be much, much more enhanced and really, really interesting to consider. Is that something that you should be putting into your roadmap for 2025? Probably not, probably too early, but those are the examples that are coming. The personalization of the creativity. Imagine that you are delivering a car service subscription, a wine service subscription that fits perfectly and describes the wine that has been delivered in the voice, approach, common sense, the way you would like it, with a humor or with empathy. And it just says, hey, this wine is the equivalent of someone who says, I will just have one pint and ends up leading karaoke at the local pub. I don't know what wine that would be, but that personalization, that moment when you get a box and it says this, or hey, it's Friday, enjoy, right? It's like that those moments that matter will dramatically change how we think about the AI. And you as the founder of those businesses, you will not need to write this personally. There will be something who knows so much more about your customers that it will just do it. Imagine a business that will make all of us look really, really smart wherever we go. It's like, it's already happening. I can speak in English and it gets translated into Mandarin and someone on the other side can understand it and we can have the conversation both ways. Imagine that somehow I've got the access to all of the knowledge in the world. How nice the conversation would look like. I was thinking about, can we have, I don't know if your favorite comedian is a Ricky Gervais, but Ricky Gervais on your screen telling the perfect jokes just for you. So you come back and you say, I want this stand-up comedian to just play for me. And he tells the jokes that match your sense of humor perfectly fine, right? And then the combination of hardware and software. Imagine that there is a room, just like we are all in now, that can adjust to how you feel. If you are stressed at this conference or at this webinar, it will dim the light. It will play a different music. If you have to focus, it will understand that, and so on and so on. It will sometimes maybe even force a break. It will just switch off your computer and says, hey, you're running low. Figure out a better way of relaxing, take a dog for a walk. Like, I think those are not obvious, but the thinking bigger is becoming a very, very interesting opportunities. And those are the things that pre-AI, we would never even consider. They were just not an option outside of really brute forcing and you manipulating absolutely everything. And finally, the interesting part that we are learning now, working with multiple organizations of different sizes, is where we go wrong about this, right? And I think this is a little bit more practical. So we all currently are extremely focused on this efficiency and over optimization in the particular parts. and it's a dangerous and a very valuable part at the same time. So just be cautious about this, right? It's like, okay, we can make something more productive, but then people will be worried that they get fired. So actually, what do we do about that? What do we do about that increased ability of us doing things, and how it impacts not only us, how it impacts the people that work with us and society in general. The idea that it's easily integrated within the business models is interesting. Just like I said about those Klarna things, you can make brave decisions, but also it could impact dramatically more how you build your business from the perspective what your customers expect. And there is no doubt in our minds that the customers will expect outrageously great experience driven by AI very, very soon, almost no matter what you do, right? The things about, and this is the famous quote from the guy that I really like. His name is Rory Sutherland. He works for behavioral science team. He's the chairman of Ogilvy. I think I constantly keep butchering the name of that company. And he says that the opposite of a good idea could be also a good idea, right? The amount of things we will be creating that on surface feels wrong, but the AI enables it, will be a lot, and we will find some real gems there. I think that if you're building a product and you say, my product works exactly the same way for the average user, and I'm building an average product that works for everybody, those products are done. The expectations of the users will be dramatically higher personalization of expectations, and there will be products, a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. Then as you collect more data, you'll be able to expand to other parts. The 80-20 rule still applies. The demo of AI products to do the first version is extremely quick. The 20% that makes your business unique and great still will be hard. The problem that we see everywhere, we all collect the data and we thought that we've got a lot of it. When you start looking deeper into it, you realize that either it's poor quality or doesn't answer the questions that you would like to. And every single company that we work with, from huge logistics organizations to startups of one, including us, collects now dramatically different data set of data. Every single decision gets logged somewhere because in the future, the machine will decide how this impacts everything else. And a general question that I went to COGEX conference in Royal Albert Hall. The AI is not a technology problem in its own right. It will impact the ethical, social, regulatory spaces. It will be here for quite a while, but we are going to have to tackle the problems that it introduced on way too many levels that purely technology. But of course, that's why we've got the founders. That's why we believe in a better future, and we are unshakable optimists about it. So I truly believe we'll be able to figure those problems out, but there still exist. There are people working on them, and I think the discussion about those problems will be somewhere there. Finally, just to say of how our organization is changing. One is the AI conversation happens on all of the levels of our company, from the board to the junior developer delivering the code. It impacts everything and everywhere. And I think it's time for the organizations to start living in that type of a future where we really reconsider how we do it. It's like we now ask the people, every single time you do something manual twice during the day, consider if there is a better machine that could do this for you, right? Even just asking those questions will be very powerful start of flexing the AI muscles. Data is collected everywhere, and we are doing a lot of efforts to clean it up, get it ready so that we can make better decisions. And yeah, we strongly believe that the internal expertise that the businesses that you've got or we've got will still be the differentiator on top of the AI that kind of we are building. There are also no stupid ideas. I think that before the elevator was created, everybody thought that the skyscraper is just a bad idea because I have to walk to the 50th floor. So at this moment, the ability to brainstorm and enable your business to think wider is a very interesting opportunity for all of us to consider. It's like, yeah, like to a certain extent, we use the statement that the possible solution is just one AI prompt away, right? And it's just like, it might not be perfect, but at least the conversation about it can happen now, right? Finally, the future is here, it's just not evenly distributed. There are companies who are living in that AI future already. They are considering it more and more. We strongly believe that is going to be impacting everybody. We are seeing lots of evidence of this already being put in practice by big and small organizations. Yeah, and I think it is a great opportunity to the founders to have that insight, unique data set, and apply the sprinkle of this brand new AI technology to drive their businesses forward, to grow, to leave the potential places where they are now and become outrageously better. And I will leave you with that. I hope that was helpful, useful. I don't know. Let's see.
Pawel, thank you very much. Any questions this morning, what we've talked about and what Pawel's raised? Let's have a look. Bear with me a second. Let's see everyone in the flesh. You say you're using it. I'm going to ask a question. Oh, Stuart. Hi, Stuart. Do you want to raise a question? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Since you're mute. Stuart, you're mute. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Stuart, you're on mute.
Sorry everyone. But the reason I was saying hi, I joined late. I didn't have the right link. I didn't get the connection. So Pawel, my apologies, my friend. I joined late. And Ollie, the same to you as well.
No problem at all. Good to see you, Stuart.
Yeah, thank you, and yourselves. And good morning to everyone else.
Martin, you got a question?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Pawel. That's really great. I do something. I do speaker sketching. So I'm doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking. I'll send them over to you.
Oh, thank you. I would shave. You should have told me.
I can rub out the beard on if you like.
20 kilograms less as well if we're on that part, all right? Please.
And I look back at my sketches. I've been doing it for years now, and I've just got this growing library of images. And then I sort of find myself sketching the same thing again and again. And I literally got Perplexity Pro the first time, paid for it like this week. And I sat down and I just talked to Perplexity about, I have all these sketches. Should I do something with them? Should I have a Martin GPT, that fusion model that you could plug in, and then as you're talking, these sketches sort of, and I get to the edge of the rabbit hole and I go, holy shit, like, is this another big shiny object? And I'm really on a crossroads of like, what do I do? Somebody's going to do it. I've got the library, and I'm really at this sort of like crossroads with two things. My technical ability is just like maxed out. And then also, how many shiny objects are there, and how many are too? What is the wrong? Like, how can I quickly figure this out and make a sort of decision rather than ponder and miss the boat? What would be your advice?
Sure. Neil, you wanna have a go, or there is a different question there? You raised your hand. A different question.
I'll let you respond to Martin, and I was going to follow up.
Sure. Okay. So I was reading about this yesterday. I think they did something similar to what you're trying to do with Rembrandt. They took all of his paintings and all of his art and enabled the people to create the next one, basically speaking. The simplicity of using the tools is getting better and better. The idea that even, like, for example, generating the MVP is going to be a coding task that you need a developer, I doubt that. I think that the humans will just talk to it or write your prompt, and it will do and hide all of those complexities, which means maybe today you could ask for help, and there are the technical people who understands some of those aspects better. But I think the usability of tools will get better and better from that perspective. Is this just a shiny toy or a brand new business opportunity to how to use your library to do more and better? I think that the experiment to try is 20 pounds. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a weekend and a 20 pounds. And I think it will be worth at least trying. like, look, there's the famous story on Spotify. A guy created his own music and then he built millions of bots that started listening to that music and he made a lot of money. Dodgy, but I think creation of the music, creation of the art is going to be very interesting. And where do we say this is still your art versus this is the AI generated? But I think from your perspective, it's like, okay, I could never do this at scale, right? Like, okay, now maybe I can. Maybe I make it into a fun thing to introduce more users to me because now they can generate something fun. But if they want because think about it like that. Think about how much more powerful the original one that you are drawing for me will be versus the AI. For the original, I pay a millions. For the AI generated, I pay 20p, right? It's like, or whatever is the pricing point. Like, I think that would be interesting for the artists and creators. But I would keep playing. I would really do, right? Or at least the brainstorm with the people who understands the art of possible, and then just say, how do I fit into that? That's a very interesting use case. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice one.
Thank you very much, Martin. Neil.
Hi, Pawel. An interesting talk. Thank you. I think sometimes I get apprehensive about people talking about the technology and AI because it can be overwhelming for people.
Sure.
And also the vibe that AI has these ideas, it doesn't. AI is dumb, it's stupid, it's pointless. It is a piece of technology, and it will not do anything to us. What's being done to us is the choices that these large corporations or whomever is actually making. It's written by a brief for a purpose to generally earn money for people, same as anything. I think that whole notion of purpose is the most important. I attended a customer engagement conference on Tuesday in London. This is all about kind of customer services, customer contact, but at a corporate level. And myself and some of the other kind of speakers and thought leaders in that space saying, do you know what we're telling large corporations now? Is the thing that they need is processes and frameworks, and not to worry about the technology, because in 6 months' time or a year's time, all the things you've mentioned today, valid still, but they're going to be replaced. They're going to evolve. So we've kind of got to not worry about which bit of tech and go, okay, what is our business?
Yeah.
Who are our customers, and how potentially could it make what I'm doing already or what it is that I want to do, which is a person to person. Everything is person to person.
Yeah, relationship.
There's just technology in between. And I feel that it's almost like that framework of thinking about this, I think, is important for founders, because you just kind of go rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Do I deep dive into this? Is this useful? And it's similarly the way I think about social media. There are so many different channels, and people say, you've got Instagram. It's like, no, it's a complete waste of my life. And it's kind of, but for some people, it's really, really important. So I think it's understanding what works for you and what will service your purpose is almost, I guess, that's my voice in AI, which is the design and the human side.
Cool.
Anyway,
look, don't get me wrong. I think that the technology in principle is only useful when it removes the limitation, right? But the limitation is between two parties buying and selling or doing things together. It's just, I think we opened up certain Pandora's box of doing things differently. But you're absolutely right that it sits somewhere in the middle. It just enables potentially traveling up and down in the elevator a little bit faster somewhere higher, right? And I've got no doubt that this is, as much as you can argue, does Sam Altman have got the altruistic play in all of this? Maybe a little bit, right? Or maybe not. It's a $10 billion business for him at this moment based on his current shares. So yeah, I'm sure that there is money to be made in all of that. The social impact of this would be very interesting, because potentially, again, the future is not equally distributed when it comes to those tools. Some of people will be just used as the data input into them, and some people will just benefit of understanding that data, right? I think we'll have to grapple with those challenges as always when the new technology shows up. I just look at this from the perspective of, and this is how old I am, like the ERP systems of the past, right? They were implemented in factories, And yeah, they collected the data from all of the different departments and factories, but the CEO was still making decisions once every 3 months because that's the cadence that he was getting the report, even though the data to make better decisions was available almost in real time. Like, this is the same thing now for this. You can say, okay, AI is just the tool, but it actually can make, imagine that your product does, I don't know, 3-step sell of something, right? The step 2 can be impacted, but how the user behaved on step 1 dramatically more and personalize that experience after. So it's like, I don't know if that's good or bad, but actually the opportunity to do more interesting stuff or be closer to your customers receiving the value that they really want to, I think it's interesting, right? And there will be people who put auto, like we all have at the beginning this note translator from AI meeting, like from this one, right? And then they kind of died because we could not do it. But I'm sure that there are people who made some money out of it or make it extremely powerful, how this impacts their day. So it will be all about how we use that technology and how we interact with it and how much we absorb it, right? But a very interesting point that the rules of business still stays, no matter the thing in the middle. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Neil. Any final questions for Pawel this morning whilst he's with us? Dan shaking his head.
I just wanted to say amazing talk, though. Thank you so much, Pawel.
Oh, pleasure of mine. Thank you very much.
Very, very good. And there's a lot in there to consider, a lot in there. We're doing a lot of thinking and talking around our goals for 25, what we want to achieve, what we want to try and prioritize during 25. And I think a lot of what you shared with us this morning can certainly be injected into those plans. What would be good, Pawel, if you could share your slides with us, email them to me. I'll put them in Circle and I'll get them distributed amongst the community as well. We'll get them out there. But that was
no problem at all. It's a pleasure.
That was fabulous. You're going to get today a deluge of love and respect and big ups from us on LinkedIn. And over the weekend and continuing into next week, because I really, really enjoyed that, and it's great. And we'll send you a copy of the video as well. But we're very, very important talk this morning.
Pleasure.
And I think it's what you've done for me is like accessibility. A lot of people, you know, whatever they feel about AI and how to use it in their business, it's that first step. Access, and I think that's what you've shone the light on this morning. How we can access it.
Like from that perspective, the early demo is a day and 20 pounds, right? Just to start flexing the muscle. The next conversation is what data do we actually hold that can make us dramatically better, right? And those two conversations with someone who can brainstorm ideas with you, it's like opens up a lot of possibilities. After that, normal business practice is like, okay, what do we focus? Where do we do? How do we validate it? And so on and so on. But yeah, the opportunities are there.
Brilliant. Excellent. We'll hope you're welcome on any time. You can come back any time. That was fabulous. And we're going to give you some dates in 25 as well. So we can take these talks a step further. All right, we can advance.
Thank you very much, gents.
Have a great weekend, all. Thanks.